All right, what's up, everybody? Trade review today. We took two trades. We're on trading view today. No top step. Yeah, but here we kind of just review the trades, looking at the daily. First, I had a bullish bias on the day. I'll explain why in a second. We had these, not these, but we had on the daily time frame. Tap this daily gap. Thought we were going to continue up. Also, this counts as change of state of delivery. Traded above it, and then we came down, tapping that change of state of delivery. Here on the 4 hour, kind of made me confused on my bias. We had this 4 hour gap in here that you guys can see, and we also had this new week opening gap. So I was looking for price to come up into those two key levels of price. Then we look here on the hourly. On the hourly, same thing. New week opening gap. No really fair value gaps on the hourly, bearish ones at least. And then we also had this hourly gap, which we were respecting at the time. And then we had these lows in here, and then we had this external low in here. And you guys will see why I marked out this red line. Or I can just explain it now. This red line was the event horizon, so that just means 50% between these two lows. And I'll note why in a second I put it there. But as you guys can see, this was the event horizon here, 50% level between the two lows. We're going down to the 15 minutes. We had inversed this 15-minute gap here. We also had a bearish SMT on ES and NQ, but you guys can look on your own chart for those. So here we had this 15-minute gap. This middle line isn't important, but we'll throw it in there. 15-minute gap inversion of this 15-minute gap in here as well. And I did take two trades today. They were relatively small trades. One was a short, one was a long, and you guys will see both of them. The first one was the short, and it was because of these 15-minute gaps in here. So let's go down to the 1 minute time frame. So on the 1 minute time frame, I had entered short first. I had caught, as you guys can see, this move in here. Why did I take that trade? We had the bearish SMT. We had this low, which we did take this low, but then obviously you guys can see we had the event horizon. So I was targeting event horizon, but I did end up changing my TP, and you guys will see why in a second. Why did I enter? We had this gap, which we did end up tapping. Then we came lower, which ended up taking that low in there. And then from there on, we had this change of state of delivery. Let me move this over. Change of state of delivery on this 1 minute time frame. We traded below it, came back up, tapped it. That's when I entered. I entered at this price here, 582. TP, I'll go with stop loss first. Stop loss was just above, so I was managing risk today. If you guys were trading today, you'll see that price action was low probability, it was horrible price action. So I didn't want to be in my trade catching, 150 point moves today. It was 20, 30 point moves, 50 point moves, smaller moves, just paying myself, get in and get out type of deal today. But entered there. I moved my TP. Instead of having TP at event horizon, I just put TP at this low because I felt like we were going to reverse off this level, which we did, as you guys can see. We did enter on that, but I'll explain that in the next part. But yeah, change state of delivery tap, higher time frame inversions. Also tap this gap and just continuation lower from there. And then TP was here. We ended up hitting TP immediately, and then we did get close to my stop, but we did end up hitting TP with this candle in here. But yeah, this is the first trade on the day. Then we're gonna review the second trade. So first idea was I had this draw on liquidity, which was this 15-minute bearish gap that we had created in here. So we did create this 15-minute gap in here, and then I did target this first. This was my first target of 640 right at the beginning of the gap. And why was it that gap, you guys might ask? We had the first presented right up here, so it was, let me mark this out in here. Fair value gap. So I wanted to target this first presented. And as you guys can see, we did end up hitting first presented a little later in the day. But yeah, this looks like a good trade entry, but we're gonna leave that alone there. Yeah, that was the first draw, the 15-minute gap. 15, first presented gap in the 1 minute, and these highs were the bigger draws. I did initially want to end up hitting these highs before we made this move lower, but we didn't make the move lower first. And then I entered here. We had a 30-second inversion. I entered on the 32nd, but here we only have this 1 minute. Fair value get marked out as the inversion. So I entered on the 30-second inversion. It was roughly the same area of this 1 minute gap. After the 30-second inversion, we held it. Stop was just below this low at first, and then TP. I did have TP here at this gap here, but we ended up moving lower just to the bodies, just to ensure getting hit. We didn't want a reversal coming down and then stopping us out. So after the 30-second inversion, we had it entered. We continued up, and then once we continued up, I moved my stop here, and then I had moved my stop to break even after we started trading it right about here. And then as you guys can see, we did end up hitting TP immediately almost. But overall, just a low probability day. I wanted to get in and out. As you guys can see, 560, 590, whatever the math is on that, 30 points ish. And then this one, 580 ish to, yeah, 30, another 30 ish points here. So overall catching 60 points on the day. But yeah, just a low probability day. I wanted to make a quick video on this, and I'm releasing a short video explaining this move here, so it's gonna be a joke, but you guys will see it on the YouTube later. But yeah, just 2 trades today. One short at first, ended up hitting TP. One long as well. Low probability, so I managed my risk a little different, risk less, a lot of break evens, you know, quickly today, and small TPs. But other than that, that's the review for today. Hopefully tomorrow's price action is going to be a little better. And yeah, that's it. And I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Peace.